Okay, today is October 8, 2015. Let's take a look at the market. Today, the Fed minute got released, and the market initially was basically chopping around this 1993 area until after the minute release. Then it got a push above that, and then it took off. So if we take a look at the little bit of an intraday time frame, we could see that the here's the time when it got the minute got released right here. So you can see how the market kind of reacted and pushed right through. And originally it was just basically chopping around beneath this 1993 level. So it finally poked through that particular level, and right now we're essentially looking to see can it follow through and come up and test this 2040 also in confluence with this trend line here, because that's this is basically the March 11 close. So that's the level of resistance we probably be looking at. Or would it take a little breather and pull back and retest this December close here on this 1972 before it make another push up, or maybe that's it, and it just gonna come up and tag this level here, right? Then it will retrace back down here. So those are some of the possibility, because right now we can't tell what it's going to do, because the market had its own way of doing what it going to do, not what we want it to do. So we just kind of keep an eye on that to see. First is the level here, this pivot here. This is the Fed meeting pivot. Okay, so if we take out this pivot, then we look at the resistance at 2040. Okay, so that's one scenario. Or if you can't take out this pivot, then it come back down, then we'd be looking at the 1972 as the potential support, the first level of support. If we can't hold that support, then we will look at the 1948. Okay, so those are the level to keep an eye on. Okay, and if we take a look at the spider, the SPY basically got to push up at this 199.84. Essentially it went above the 200. It closed at 201. So again, we're basically looking for this pivot, and then see could it get it up here to this 204.40, these particular resistance here, or kind of pull back to this 198. All right, 197.91. So this 198 or the 195 area. Okay, maybe come back down and fill this gap here. So those are the numbers to keep an eye on the SPY. Okay, and let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial. The Dow Jones also came up and tagged this December close here. So it finally came up and got up to this 17,068.87. Okay, so we want to see kind of follow through and get up on this trend line, because we're still looking at this possible maybe a bear flag or something, unless it could come up and maybe pull up and break out of this channel here and get up to this particular level here, the 17,635. Okay, if it pull back, we're looking at the 16,739, 740, and possibly get back down to the 16,312. Okay. And the transportation, the Dow Jones Transportation broke through this trend line here. So now it's still on a downtrend on these, these touches over here. Okay, and this trend line essentially is a parallel to this particular trend line as well. So we want to see, can it take up, take out the 82.56 and get above this pivot, then it will essentially make a higher high. So now you got a higher low and a higher high, and maybe that will start the course of changing the trend and move this thing up. Okay. And the New York Composite, New York Stock Exchange Composite, also came up and sort of tagged this pivot here. So now we want to see could it come up and take out the 10,390, essentially this particular trend line. Okay, and move itself up to this 10,678, because it still need to come up and tag this close here, this December 16 close. Okay, and if it pull back, then it will probably pull back to this 10,063. Okay. And then on the Nasdaq 100, the Nasdaq 100 is kind of weak, because you can see it's only up 0.39%. While the other component, other indexes, such as the industrial, is up 0.8%, and the S&P 500 is almost 0.9%. Okay, so the Nasdaq is a little bit of a lagging performer today, and so the tag is 43.49, 43.50. So I need to break through this and get up to this pivot and possibly, come up and retest the April high here. Okay, but if the weakness continue, then we'll probably see it to pull back down to this 42.07. And it might even come back and retest the 40.89. But I do believe that once it take out this level here, okay, once it take out this level, okay, and then come up to this April high, and I do believe eventually before this market is over, roll over, I think this, this all-time high, this is the Y2K.com bubble high here, okay. So this is the high that you need to take out. And once we get up to that point, then that'd be interesting, because all the other indexes already took out the Y2K high. Okay, so it's only this one still remain. So this thing have to come up and take out that high. And here's the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 still trying to get up to this trend line. Okay, need to see it. Could it get up to this 1180? Although it did make a nice move today, but it's still kind of lagging behind say the other major indexes, because the other one is already kind of came up and took out the Fed Day pivot. Okay, so this one have a little bit of catching up to do, and if it can't break above this this level here, then chances are we'll probably see it come back down. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the stock here. Apple continues to show weakness. It's actually down on a big day that the market had another good day, and the stock is actually down more than yesterday. Okay, so you can see that it's still coming down, and although it's still holding up at this 105.99, 106 level, we're going to see can it hold up above this 107. If it can't hold this 107, chances are we're going to see a lower prices down here for Apple for whatever reason. Okay, and then we got Facebook. Facebook also did not do too well. Okay, it's only up like 7 cents. Right, so but it did hold above this 91 level. So we got to see can it get a little bounce back up off from the 91, because if we look at this thing here, and let's say we have a little bit of a Fibonacci retracement, and it is coming back down to maybe the 50% level of the 618. If we could get a bounce over here and come back up to this 94.43, then there's a good chance that it could come up and take out this trend line here as this 127 extension at this 96.97 level. Okay, so essentially what we're looking for is what I call some kind of a U-turn type of break, right? This is like a U, okay, over here, right? So essentially that's what we want to see, is see, maybe some sort of an inside day and then break out of that, so we get this little U-turn, right? But if it continue to show weakness, then we could see it come back down to retest this particular level here, this 85 level. Okay, so and then we got Amazon. Amazon also show a little bit weakness again, right? Okay, so although it was down much more earlier before the Fed minute release, again it seems to be encounter resistant on this trend line here, and if it can't break above this 550, 545 level, then the chances are it's going to come back down. We test this trend line and essentially get back down to this 500 level, and probably try to test that for support. Okay, and then Netflix was down until the news came out about it raising its fee by $1 to all the subscribers. Then it got this nice pop, and right now it's basically getting up to this resistance, this trend line here, somewhere around the 114, 115 level. So unless it could break through this trend line, get up to this 118, 117 level, essentially this pivot, okay, then probably will come back down and retest this trend line, possibly even get down to this 97 level here. If this is just a one news release pop, then that means this thing really doesn't have enough strength to take it up and try to reclaim this high here. Okay, and Google, again, Google is also got a negative day, down $3. So again, it could be coming down and possibly retest these level here. This 646, but also it also could be like a Facebook if it could make a little bit of a U-turn type of stuff. Okay, let me get this. All right, so if we look at this Fibonacci retracement, is tagging the 618 on this particular swing. All right, so if it could come down and get a little bounce, like a little bit of a U-turn again, and break this trend line and get up to the 678, then it could get up to this 127, essentially this particular pivot high. And let me see what that level is. That is 695 on a 127 extension. Okay, so but if it can't do this little what I call U-turn again, right? This ideally maybe a little bit of a inside bar type of a kind of coil, and then kind of build up that little energy and then swing it up, right? So maybe a little bit of a flag, essentially that's what we're looking for, right? But no, basically trying to keep it within this retracement range, right, to get that U-turn up, right? So if it's not, then we're basically looking for this thing to dip below 645 and possibly get down and retest the 626. Okay, and even like come back down to this 382. Okay, so the next one is Twitter. Twitter continued to show strength. That's kind of strange for us to say that after a long while. So again, you're looking at Twitter. Ever since it broke this trend line, right, and then it came down and tested this low, it actually closed above this low. You see this close is above this closing low. So this is the lowest closing low. Although this is the lowest low, but here's the close, okay? So because if we take a look at the line chart here, right, okay, so this is the lowest point. And even if we go all the way back to the IPO, since the day of IPO, so this is the lowest low, right? Okay, so it held above that low, which is a positive, and now it's kind of come to and pop up to this 2950. We're talking about this 2950 and get up to this 3069, and actually went to this 3069, and it kind of pulled back a little bit, got a little bit of a pullback. So that might be good, even though it could consolidate down here and then make another push, get up to this 3414, essentially filling this gap here. Okay, so look for any kind of pullback and use that as an opportunity to look for setup, to go long on this guy. Okay, so and then Tesla. Okay, Tesla is still coming down. Right, so it came down to the 618. Right, so essentially came down test this level here. We expected a continuation to come down here, if maybe get a little bounce and it come down. Right. Okay, so maybe we get a little bit of a trend line here. Okay, so we'll see how strong if that bounce, if we get a bounce from Tesla, or it might be just a continuation and maybe break this and then bounce up, retest the 618, this 255, and then break down and try to come down and test at this level somewhere around the 205, 203 level. Okay. Then the IBB, although the IBB also was down most of the time, most of the day until the Fed minute came out or about to come out, and we saw some some recovery on the IBB, and it actually came up quite nicely, almost got a broke even. Okay, but again, don't expect too much on that. Even if we get a little bit of a bounce, maybe get up to this 618. I do see continued weakness down here to maybe break down to the 285, and instead of getting that big this big H breakdown, we essentially are looking at this smaller H breakdown, because also if you note that I put in this this Fibonacci swing here, retracement here, this is 6186, 50% here. So so right now, if it maybe we chop around here and then come down, then we're essentially still looking at this 263, 252. This 252 is in confluence with this 251, this bigger H swing breakdown. Okay. Okay, let's just look at a couple of the bank stock. I haven't been talking about the bank stock for quite a while because there wasn't much to talk about until today. Actually, quite a few came up on my scanner. So I just want to talk about Morgan Stanley here. And if we take a look at Morgan Stanley, right, ever since this downturn here, seems to be finding a little bit of a bounce here. Okay, and it's getting up on this downtrend, this trend line here. So essentially, we're probably looking for a break of this trend line, right? If we could, maybe consolidate and then break on this trend line and look for a quick move up to this 34.85. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at, because it came down and kind of tested this little trend line support here, got a nice bounce, and it seems to be consolidating here on this trend line here. So if we break this trend line, look for the entry maybe somewhere around here, for this this move to 34.85, at least for this gap fill. Just a quick trade type of stuff. Okay, and JP Morgan. All right, so again, we're looking at JP Morgan. See a similar, after the break. All right, came down, found a little bit of support here, got a little bounce, and although there's a couple trend line here, primarily we're looking at this particular trend line here to see could we get a little bit of a flag type of things, to push it up to this trend line or get up to these levels, the 64, 65 level, getting up to this resistance here. Okay, so and then the other one is Bank of America. Right, again, similar stuff. Right, sort of found a little bit of support on this bounce here. Right, getting off of these, pivot here. So if we get these pivot, get it up here to this 1645. That could be one of the possibility here on a quick bounce type of a trade, and also get up to essentially this little bit of a double bottom type of a pattern as well. Right, so you just want to trade up to this baseline here to see is there any energy left to actually break out on this trend line here. Then you could look at higher level, but for now it's basically just looking for this little maybe developing a little flag, and then get a little push. Okay, or if it come down to this support here, let's say it come down to the support, then look for a bounce off of the support to get the push in there. Right, because then maybe we get this little bit of a trend line. Then you got a kind of low risk reward type of a trade, right? So you can have your stop just beneath this 1525. Okay, and the final one is Citi Corp. Right, so again, it's the same thing. Looking for a little bit of a pullback, maybe a pullback off the bounce of this 5047. On a push to this trend line, get up to this 52.77, possibly break above that trend line. That resistance there. So just a little bit of a quick trade on these financial, right? Okay, so that's it. Good luck.